What we're expecting to see is a cascading effect of wolves regulating the population of moose, and in turn, the moose will be more limited in their browse across the island. So we'll see more balsam fir on the west end, and on the east end we'll see more recruitment of aspen, one of the important species on the other side of the island, and sugar maples.
In short, more biodiversity. The wolf and the moose is a great example. Returning the wolves to Isle Royale will limit the number of moose and protect more of the plants they eat. That'll help the many species that also depend on those plants. The wolf needs the moose, and the moose needs the wolf for the ecosystem to function. Biodiversity gives ecosystems their strength and resilience in the face of change. And things are changing on Isle Royale. The island is 20 miles offshore. The question often gets asked, how did wolves and moose get here in the first place? No one is sure about the moose. Moose are excellent swimmers, but 20 miles is a long way, even for them. Maybe a hunt club introduced them early in the 20th century. The truth is, we don't know how the moose got to Isle Royale. How the wolves got here is easier to understand. It's now clear they came over in the winter on the ice bridge.
Wolves are comfortable on ice, even thin ice, so that's been their major way to get back and forth.
The isolation of the island effect, began to take a toll on the health of the remaining wolves. Then came a warming climate. The atmosphere of the Earth is warming, which in turn is forcing the climate to shift and behave differently. As the climate changes, plants and animals everywhere are forced to adjust where they live and what they eat. It's happening in the Great Lakes and on Isle Royale too. Warming on Isle Royale has been slower because of the cold lake all around it. Still, the prediction is that by 2050, the island could see an average warming of 3 to 6 degrees Fahrenheit.
We're bound to see really stark contrasts here in the next 30 to 50 years, partially because half of the island is in the boreal range and then half is in the temperate range. So we're right on the southern extent of that boreal region. So we, on our eastern end, have a good component of spruce and fir and aspen and a lot of species that are only known to be in the boreal system. So as climate warms, we'll expect to see reduced survival or success of those species.
The island is an ecotone. That is, it's on the edge between two major forest types, the boreal, which likes it colder, and the temperate hardwood, which likes it warmer. Any change in climate will change the island's forests in important ways. Trees and plants will move, change, adapt. Some may go away. The animals that depend on them for food will have to adapt, leave, or die out. Moose are built for the cold. If Isle Royale becomes warmer, it'll be hard on them. Warmer seasons could mean more parasites, like ticks. As the island warms up, the plants the moose eat will become more scarce. Some may disappear. When that happens, the moose will begin to starve. Warming will bring another big change. Between 1950 and 1995, ice cover on Lake Superior lasted 77 to 115 days, depending on the winter. By 2050, that number will be more like 12 to 47 days. That will be a problem for the wolves. The disappearing ice bridge between the mainland and the island has already taken a toll on the wolves.
And eventually the island effect was accentuated by the disappearing ice between the island and the mainland, which had allowed wolves to come over periodically and bring in new genes. We think that is the reason why the population kept going for 70 years.
Winter ice bridges are important to the genetic refreshment of the wolf population. But as winters warm, the ice bridges become less reliable. So today, the new bridge to Isle Royale is by air and boat, and these mainland wolves are the founders of a whole new population on Isle Royale. To monitor their behavior, researchers must rely on data from satellite collars that track their movement. The latest collars let researchers track where the wolves go, which ones stay together, the territory they establish, and how well they're doing as predators. Field scientists with the Park Service are watching the movements of the wolves. Once a day, the GPS collars transmit their locations. As the days and weeks go by, the dots on the map show movement, but is there a pattern? Is a cluster of dots a new pack forming? Is this single dot that hasn't moved a denning female? What the teams are looking for now is the formation of at least one wolf pack, which will indicate a mating pair and any possible sign of newborn pups. But the collars can only reveal so much. To truly understand what's happening, researchers must gather more tangible evidence from the field.
We've had some issues with some of the GPS collars that have been put on these wolves. Some of them have been failing prematurely. And so we have a camera array currently deployed across the island, and we're reviewing those images to look at wolves that trigger the cameras, and we're looking for evidence of pups. We're also going to potential den sites, rendezvous sites, and looking for evidence, particularly scats that may be there, to determine, first of all, if they are wolves, and then if the quality is high enough, individual identification of those scats, so we can get a minimum number of wolves, pups in this case, that may have been born to a particular female.
The park has deployed over 150 cameras, hoping to capture images of any pups born on the island. Their first success emerged early in 2020, when researchers returned to recover footage captured during the fall and winter of 2019.
When we came back this spring, we picked up an image showing definitely 2 pups from last September that would have been born to the female translocated to Isle Royale. So she was translocated pregnant. She successfully found a place to den and reared pups, and they survived through to the winter. Oh, it's great news, because it's important that the population contain individuals of all ages, so that when these yearlings grow up, they'll hopefully disperse from their territory and intermingle with other wolves.
That's not all they found that spring. GPS collar data indicated that another female denned up on the southwest side of the island in April, most likely to give birth to pups that were actually conceived here. Once she left the den site, the team recovered 18 pup-sized scats, a great indication new pups may have been born. And then, as they combed through more remote camera clips, they uncovered these grainy images, taken at night, of what appears to be another new pup on the northeastern side of the island.
That was a little bit of a surprise, because we ended up running through our camera array and picking up the photo of that pup. And we don't know who that pup belongs to yet. We'll need to get some genetic evidence or further pictures of this pup with an adult, but it definitely confirms that we've had reproduction at both ends of the island, which means we have roughly 2 packs. We just can't assign that pup to parents yet.
It'll take more field research to confirm exactly how many pups have been born and how many have survived. But these initial discoveries are a major step in the right direction.
I mean, having reproduction at 2 different ends of the island, suggesting there are at least 2 packs, we're well on our way to meeting the goals of the project, which is, 3 to 4 packs, having reproduction on an annual basis, killing moose, killing beavers, doing everything that wolves do. I mean, that's what we want, and we want to see it, and we're super pleased about having this information. It'd be great if we had more, but we'll take it.
The hesitancy of this yearling wolf approaching the cold waters of Isle Royale on the trail of a moose is a reflection of the tenacity and the needs of wolves. A single experienced wolf can take down an adult moose, but not without serious risk of injury. The future of any pups will depend on whether they can find a mate and a social structure that allows them to flourish in this isolated ecosystem.
So it's mainly for wolves a challenge of finding a vulnerable moose, and that may take them days of hunting. Right now, with the moose population real high, lots of calves, lots of yearlings, and an aging bunch of adults, it should be fairly easy for the next few years.
Studying the impacts of these wolves on an ecosystem under stress from climate change gives humans insight into changes we can only imagine at this time.
Isle Royale is a very unique environment to work in, and it's really tough to fully understand some of the stories that are here. We still don't know how this story is going to end.